Hello, everybody. This is Steel Rose's podcast. This podcast was created for women by women to elevate women's voices. Happy Tuesday, everybody. So this Tuesday is extra special, and I hope you're all prepared for it because for me in New Jersey, this Tuesday marks the end of summer. School starts tomorrow. I have been waiting for this moment for weeks. My kids have been waiting for this moment for weeks. They're thrilled. I'm thrilled everywhere. You all have been with me this summer through the little experiment, I would call it, for me trying to work from home while also having my kids home. And you all saw and heard, all you heard, the struggle that it was, especially when we got to August. I was thinking about this quite a bit last night because it has been very intense for me. It has been very hard this month for me. And in my head, all I can think to myself is they are just kids being kids. And in no way was the stress really their fault. They're just doing their thing. And they need someone that's going to be 100% in, because the days that I was 100% all in and didn't have to deal with work and was able to just focus on them and do things for them, it went beautifully. And I enjoyed my time with them and I enjoyed being able to do that. The days that I had to work were obviously the days that things were tough. So, there was a lot of give and take, mostly give from my side, but they did, for their ages, they did an excellent job trying to do, help mommy while I was working. So I'm planning to chat with them later today, but something I had been thinking about quite a bit last night was that, like, they're just kids being kids. Like, I'm the one with the issue here, not them. So that's just one thing. But yes, I'm very excited. School starting tomorrow. Can't even begin to express the relief. I might cry. I keep saying that because I feel like it's going to happen. Not because of the sadness, because of the joy. So two things I wanted to bring up today. Number one, it was an interesting discussion that I was having with my husband and my stepson this past weekend. And the discussion was centered around prenuptial agreements. And the debate was, if it was coming from my husband and stepson. So it was focused around, if you're a guy, if you're a man and you're building up a business or an empire or whatever, and you're very successful and you're going to get married, is it offensive to want to get a prenuptial agreement in place to protect your assets? Personally, I don't really feel like this should be an issue. Before all of you come and find me and talk to me about this, I know that there's an emotional element here that says, well, we're getting married, you shouldn't be thinking about the possibility of this ending. Like, you should be coming into this wholeheartedly, like knowing this isn't going to end and it won't affect the business and this and that or whatever. Take the emotional element out of marriage for a minute and just think about the baseline of this person worked very hard to build up this business. He wants to protect an asset and he just wants to make sure that that asset will be protected and it cannot be taken away from him. Someone else can't be in charge of it. Like, he wants to maintain it, he or she. I'm going to put that both out there because prenuptial agreements can come from women as well. I don't think this is an issue. And I hopped into the conversation and I said, now this is the part where you guys are going to think this is funny. There's a reason why I'm bringing this up. I said, you know what? Absolutely. I agree. Shouldn't be an issue. If your fiance has a business that they're building up, an empire that they're building, they should be able to protect that. I understand that they worked really hard for it. They want to keep it as theirs. And then I introduced the concept and I said, similar to if a woman doesn't want to change her last name because she's earned a higher education degree. And, my stepson kind of looked at me and was like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, I know of several women that earned their MDs, PhDs, they have a higher education and post receiving their degree got married, but decided not to change their last name because the logic was like, me as an individual woman, I earned this degree. I worked hard for it. Dr. Dr. Benitez didn't earn it. It was Dr. Dio, which was my maiden name. I don't have a doctorate, so this is not applicable to me, but I know people that was like, no, like, I'm not changing my last name. I worked really hard for this degree. I'm keeping my last name on here. And I agree with this. I think that makes sense. To me, this makes sense. Like, legally, I understand, there's this whole like idea about, changing your last name after you get married. I did it. I was in it. I wanted to do it. That was my choice. But again, if you have a higher degree, you might not want to do it because you personally earned that degree. So I proposed this as a concept in this discussion. And my stepson he said to me, he's like, oh, hold on a second. He was like, no, that's not the same thing. I think I would have an issue with that. And I said, well, why? You're protecting your asset. Your wife might want to protect like something that she worked for that your last name didn't work for. And thus she doesn't want to change her last name. She wants to maintain it. So then my husband walked in the room. Now my husband, you might all be surprised to hear this, but my husband is very male dominant, patriarchy. Like, he does have a lot of these old school ways of thinking, which is funny between the two of us because you all know my points of view on things. So sometimes there's some very light debate in our house. And there's a lot of agreeing to disagree. But so my husband walks in the room and I relay to him what I said to my stepson. And he goes, oh, no. I'm going to, you should really still change your last name. So I challenged them on it. I said, well, why? You're telling me you want to protect an asset and you don't want to just go into a marriage without having a prenuptial agreement because you worked really hard for your company and whatever it is that you have and you want to protect that. I'm like, and the woman, you want her to be able to sign this and not take issue with it, then you really shouldn't be taking issue if she doesn't want to change her last name. And that's where the conversation kind of stopped because they have this blanket like, no, we don't agree with that. And I'm like, well, then you should be comfortable if the woman doesn't agree with the prenuptial agreement. And that's kind of where the conversation stopped because nobody wants to debate me. So I'm curious to hear like what you all think of that, because to me, this felt like, this makes sense. Or even like, if your wife comes in and says like, I built up this empire, I don't want to hand it over to you blindly and, go into a marriage thinking this is all going to be split up. Each individual should protect themselves. And prenuptial agreements could also be beneficial for the woman because you can actually put text in, you can add to it and put in parameters for yourself. And I understand when people kind of balk at this and they're like, oh my God, but it's a wedding, it's a marriage, like it's not about money. The reality is we do have to protect ourselves, and people really do need to, yes, you're going to wholeheartedly give to your marriage. It's not like you're going into it thinking it's not going to work, but there should be some level of protection. That's just smart. Like, I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. So I would be curious to hear like how you all feel about this and what you thought about my logic there, because they kind of didn't appreciate it, but I thought it was a good concept. So I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are. Now, topic number 2. So I'm not on social media personally. You all know that the podcast is on social media, but I don't personally have an account. I don't personally engage. My husband will sit next to me sometimes and he'll be scrolling through his feed, and my ears always perk up here and there on different things that he comes across his feed. And I'll like look over at him and he'll stop scrolling and he'll let me listen to the whole clip because I want to hear what this person is saying. My husband was listening to what I can only describe as an a-hole. He was listening. Some a-hole popped up on his feed. I don't know the guy's name. I don't know anything about this person. I don't know his handle. I know nothing about this person. But what I do know is that what popped up on the feed was he was arguing the debate around women saying that stay-at-home moms' salary, quote unquote, is worth so much, and that, there's a leg to stand on there in terms of like, what their value and their respect and all this stuff. And this guy was arguing it and saying, he didn't say it's not that they're not worth this. What his debate was, well, you're a stay-at-home mom. You're getting free room and board. You're getting free food. You're getting all these free benefits. And all you have to do is manage the household and be a stay-at-home mom. So shut your mouth. Like, it's a wash. Like, you're getting all these benefits for free. I immediately took issue with this. And I basically made a little mental note to myself that I wanted to actually look into this, because this debate irritates the crap out of me. Because you're going to sit there and say, like, well, you know what? Yeah, that's right. You know what? You are burnt out, but you know what? You get free food and board. So you get a free roof over your head. So shut your mouth. Like, keep doing what you need to do. I cannot even. So again, let's take the emotional element out of there, because we can all probably talk this to death and be like, no, like, you're an idiot. You're wrong. What I like to do to combat the idiots is, well, let me look at the details here. So if you look online, and you can Google this, there's articles everywhere. How much is a mom really worth? What's the stay-at-home mom cost? So I found this article on salary.com. I'll link it in the description. Stay-at-home mom's median annual salary in 2020 and 2021 was creeping over $184,000. Some of the things, like job descriptions that fall under mom: chief financial officer, chief operational officer, logistical analyst, housekeeper, laundry manager, van driver, in some instances, public school teacher, facilities manager, meeting and event planner, kitchen manager, athletic director, nurse, bookkeeper, physical therapy supervisor, nutrition director, fast food cook, server, conflicts manager, interior designer, fundraising coordinator. And what's not on the list, which is actually kind of interesting to me, is mental health expert. And I'd like to add that in there. It's not in there. And I think that if we were to add that in there, the median salary range would probably go up about $30,000, because we all know that as women and as wives, we are supporting our husbands and partners' mental health. We just are. It's par for the course. They come home, they're in a bad mood. You have to manage their mood. They come home, they get depressed or whatever, anxiety, this and that, and the next thing. It should be a two-way street. I'm not saying it shouldn't. It absolutely should, because your emotional support should also be your husband. I'm just pointing out that we do this for our husbands. And 9 times out of 10, it's a lot harder than like what most people think. Most men think anyway. So there's a slew of list of things that women do that back up the fact that we would be earning $184,000. Oh, you know what I forgot to factor in here? Childcare. So that was a note to myself. So I wanted to combat this idiot's logic, right? Because he's like, it's a wash. You get all this free stuff. You get all the free benefits. You know, shut up, kind of thing. Like, women shut up everywhere. So what I wanted to do was like compare financially, like, okay, well, if you are saying like this is a crappy, argument, then let's do an actual one-to-one comparison. Let's look at the facts. They're saying all these things that women do is valued at about $185,000. And so then what is the cost of actually supporting a stay-at-home woman? So I broke it down based on New Jersey's. This is how irritated I am about this. So I broke down the cost of it based in cost of living in New Jersey. So it might be a little bit lower in other places in the United States or in the world. It could be higher. This is just average ranges I was going on. So cost of supporting an individual by themselves. I'm not counting kids. I'm just counting the individual. Room and board, because this is a one-to-one and we're talking about the payment for a stay-at-home mom. Room and board in New Jersey, roughly $2,000 per month, which would come out to about $24,000 per year. I averaged $2,000 per month because if an individual was to get a studio apartment or a one-bedroom apartment, about $2,000 would probably cover it, depending on where you're living. So I'm just sitting at $2,000. Food per week, I went with $650 because, you want to do treats for yourself, whatever. $650 per week. Health insurance is $150 per month for an individual. And then expenses, cell phone, car insurance, utilities. I added everything up cell phone, $75 per month, cars, $500 per month, car insurance, $500 per month, utilities, $350 per month, health insurance, I said $150 per month. So you see where I'm going with this, right? Like I average it out per week, per month. What's the annual cost to support an individual? $73,000 to support one adult. The average stay-at-home mom salary should be about $185,000. So this gentleman, and by gentleman, I mean a-hole, his logic is you get all these free benefits. So shut up with your complaining. You get all these free benefits. You're living for free off of this person. This is enough. Like it's a wash. Like that is your job. That's what you're supposed to do. And I'm here to tell you, you still are getting over by $115,000. And you should actually shut your mouth because you're getting $115,000 of benefits from somebody fully, wholly supporting your family by themselves, 24 hours a day. Now, before you stop me to say, oh, well, it's not really 24 hours a day support. I mean, they sleep. They're probably not, they're not doing that much during the day. If the kids are at school, they're not doing a lot. I'm also here to shoot that argument down because even when the kids are at school, I can tell you right now, because I just had a discussion about this recently, that there is not a real moment where a woman is going to be sitting down on her ass and doing nothing. When the kids go to school, the woman is, I'm going to rush to get laundry done. I'm going to rush to get grocery shopping done. I'm going to make sure I clean the house. I'm going to make sure things are set up. I'm going to make sure appointments are being done. Do you know how much my husband has complained this summer about all the appointments I haven't scheduled yet? Because I had the kids full time and I have been telling him every single day, I don't have the brain space to make any appointments for anybody until everyone is out the door and in school, because the amount of energy it takes to focus on them while I was doing everything else was insanity. So if someone comes to you with the argument that like, oh, well, actually you get free room and board, so you should be all good. No, I don't, because I'm still like not getting enough technically salary wise. And when I was going to circle too with the whole logic of like, oh, well, stay-at-home moms, they sleep, like it's not a 24-hour a day job. There's downtime. There's this. No, there isn't. There's no downtime. And I can already tell you, I can give you a list of things that happen during the daytime when the kids are at school. But beyond that, the sleep factor, a woman is on call 24 hours a day. We are on call 24 hours a day. So before you sit there and want to shoot off your patriarchy, male chauvinist, machismo, friggin' mouths, why don't you take a minute and actually do some research and fact check yourself before you go down that path? Because I'm telling you right now, you're wrong. You're incorrect. The stay-at-home mom benefit is incredible. It is incredible. It is, you really can't put a dollar amount to it, to what that benefit is to the husband and to the children. Because as soon as you factor in the mental health benefit of having a stay-at-home mom that's fully supporting your kids and fully supporting the husband, that's it. You're not a wash anymore. You're not breaking even. You're not a wash. The benefit of that woman is 100 times what you quoted for room and board and free food and free insurance and free cars and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm here to say, I'll shut your mouth right now and shut you down right now, because that's not valid. It's not valid. Okay. So those are my two topics for today. I'm very interested to hear what you all think. Bobby's at work. Please go. I'll be 2 minutes. I'm very interested to hear what you all think. As you can hear, I'm being summoned. I got to make breakfast. I appreciate all of you listening and hanging with me for this summer series. Summer series is ending on Thursday. It's our last summer series episode. Sunday picks up the fall series. Make sure, if you're not subscribed, I hope you all are, but if you're not subscribed, fall series is going to be like killer, kick ass. And we already have episodes scheduled for the winter, spring 2025. So stick with us. It's going to get really interesting. It's going to be awesome. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will catch you on the next one. Take care.